Hello, the nerds. Welcome back to another Trickcal video. And today I want to be talking a little bit about the current compose banner, personality banner we have right here, where you can pull and exchange for specific characters. 100 pulls for a normal unit, 300 pulls still for one of the Eldin girls. So I do want to talk a little bit about the priority on this banner, which ones I would be recommending exchanging for, and in my opinion, what are the core characters for compose currently, and which ones you can completely skip if you don't like them. Now, this is gonna be based on two things. First, we're not gonna be talking about Eldin characters. They are the best units, and if you are looking for good characters to get, and you have the currency too, obviously, it is the best place to get Eldins. I would not exchange for Aya because Aya was given for free on this event and everyone should have her now, but you could exchange for Ed if you don't have her. All right, one of the best tanks in the game. Any Eldin character is a strong character, so if you do want to exchange for them, it is fine. If you want to be going also for the journeys on this banner, it's fine to go for a couple extra levels, but it is expensive. All right, so I would use this more to complete my Pokédex rather than going for the journeys. So we're going to be talking mostly about the normal characters because it is cheaper to get them. But always remember, Eldins have higher value than any other character. By the way, this skin for Aya, it's 10 out of 10. I actually love the skin. Waiting for the new pack of skins as well in a couple days. Now, that's it. Let's jump directly into our website as usual, and we're gonna be going into three categories: core characters, in my opinion, that are used always for composed teams currently, be it a 6-man formation or a 9-man formation; raid characters, which are still great units you can safely invest into, but they have less priority, or even if you don't have them, it's quote-unquote fine; and then the fillers, which I barely use on blue teams. Maybe this changes next week, or sorry, in 3 days whenever we get the new journey for Trickcal, but at the moment, and we can start exactly with that, Trickcal is one of those characters. She's not a bad unit by any means, by the way. Like, she can be used, she was used on the previous raid, if I remember correctly, for a weekly blue, but it's not a character that can compete with the other DPSs currently, and her biggest problem is that it's a mid lane, which is usually quite crowded on most personalities, okay? It's the busiest lane, if you will. Now, she is getting her journey soon, in a couple days. That might be helping her case and making her stronger. I need to get more certificates, by the way. I need another 31 later. But we will be testing and seeing if anything changes. Also, she has a really nice skin that I'm considering buying because kind of nice looking Trickcal there, no? Pretty nice looking Trickcal there. But she is the first one going into the filler category. Now we go into Elena. I think this is obvious, but she is one of the core characters for the blue team. Elena was a mistake on the global server. On the Korean one, she's kind of useless, but on global, they made her way too strong. They wanted to buff her, and it was a mistake. They made her really, really, really strong. And it's been the staple character for almost every single Elias Frontier. You always see Elena. Obviously, plenty of good units to put on the mid lane, so it's not mandatory, but when we're talking about composed teams, she is one of the core characters at the moment. In fact, the only character that can compete damage-wise right now is going to be Aya with her card, not with her journey, with her card, but because Aya is giga buffing every composed apostle in the team, right? And even more so on the mid lane, so they work really well together. But those two are the main damage dealers, and I will say they are core characters. Another unit that I will say it's one of a filler at the moment, it's Velvet. Now, Velvet still is good for raids, so we could put her on raids just because she has still the usage of spinning and making the boss face the other direction. And for that, she's really good on raids, both Elias Frontier and also on Dimensional Clash, mostly on Dimensional Clash rather than Elias Frontier though. But still, it's a really nice character just for that. Outside of raids, however, I would not really recommend going too hard into Velvet because she's not a great tank. The only reason we were using this dork is because there was nothing else, right? And then obviously later we did get Ed, which fixed all of our issues for composed tanks and for online. So that's the other character. Now, Amelia is in a similar situation. She does have some synergies with Elena. It's not a mandatory synergy by any means, but outside of raids, she's not a mandatory unit to be running. Now, currently, she's a staple on our 6-man team. Not a lot of options right now, obviously, as you guys can see by this list. It's not like it's a big list, but at the moment she is a staple. She's really good for raids. The electrocution helps, the debuffs do help a lot, and also her synergy with Elena. And again, the synergy is not mandatory. It's not like that the synergy actually makes anyone do 50% more damage or anything, but it's still a nice character to have. And it's also a pretty cute girl. Now, we go into Baron. I'll just keep going in order left to right. I will say Baron is currently one of the core characters here. Now, you could argue for Baron to be one tier down and go into raids, because without her yearning, she does lose quite a bit of value. But still, to be fair, I'm just going to be rating everyone with their yearnings if they have it. And I do think Baron is a pretty strong character, and she's being used even on Elias Frontier raids outside of composed teams as well, because she does have some nice utility. I think it's a pretty good character. It depends on the setup, it depends on your cards, it depends on what other characters you are running. I do like her quite a bit. Once again, I can see the case of calling her a raid unit, and it would be completely fine, but in my opinion at the moment she can be going into this core category. She is weaker than Elena if we're talking damage wise, right? Elena is the top DPS here, unless we're talking about Eldins and other different setups with the card for Aya. Next we can go into Picora, and Picora is the only healer on this team. Picora is a core character, not because how amazing she is, but she has a couple things that make her a core character for blue teams for a while. First of all, the only other healer you would be able to get is Meluna, which is not a bad healer, but it's more of a meme than anything, right? So Picora is your healer. That's the first thing. The second is also going to be the her journey. It does not simplify, it does make her heal a lot easier, right? So we're talking about a healer that is also providing crit resistance, which can help you survive in some raids and not get one shot. So she provides heals and also crit resistance. A pretty nice one. I do like her. I think she's cute. Her skin is pretty nice. Look at her just go. So it is at the moment a core unit, again at the moment, but if you don't have her, it's completely fine. You can still run Meluna until you do get her in the future, or whenever she actually decides to drop. So Meluna is the alternative, but Picora is our main healer and also support for that crit resistance right there. And then we go into Sila and Jade. I'm going to be putting Sila into the raid category. I know some people might be comparing Sila with Baron here, and again, I can see that no problem. If you guys want to put Baron on the raid category instead of core, it does work as well. It's completely fine. It's more of a personal preference for me because I really like Baron. So just take that into consideration when pulling for what characters you want. Sila is a nice damage dealer. It's mostly single target. Her journey makes her deal a lot more damage as well, which is great. And I think for single target and for raids mostly, we will be seeing Sila for a while on the composed teams. Now, outside of composed or for Elias Frontier is not as popular as a pick, but it can work for Elias Frontier. But there is just a few backline characters that are just like way better. So it's really hard to justify bringing her instead, right? But still, it's a nice character. I think for raids, there is no problem on investing in Sila, even for your main composed team. If you do like her, it's fine. And then lastly, we go into Jade, and I'm going to put her on the filler category with Trickcal for now. Now, most likely Trickcal will be moving up in a couple days when we get her journey, but when it comes to Jade, at the moment, it's not a good character. Just overall, not a good character. I can even justify putting Trickcal above her on a tier list and saying she's better, but when it comes to Jade, she has nothing to offer that is interesting at the moment for the current composed formation. It's not a great DPS. Again, this might change in the future whenever she does get a journey, and then maybe she actually becomes a pretty good DPS. But at the moment, not a good one, not one that I would exchange for unless you want to complete your Pokédex. Outside of that, not really. So those would be my recommendations for the composed banner. Again, not counting the Eldin units, because Eldins will always be stronger, will always be the priority. Keep that in mind anytime you are pulling for something or building teams. All right, that said, do let me know if you guys think Baron should be here on core or she should be on the raid section instead. And as usual, good luck with your pull generates, and I'll see you on the next one.